right, so it's day 18 of 31 and 31 Kaijufest, and I have just finished watching Godzilla versus Biollante. Uh, yeah. It's a direct continuation of Godzilla 1985. Like, literally, it starts right at the end of it after Godzilla has fallen into the volcano, and there are people coming and stealing the cells of Godzilla. It's this is an interesting movie. I mean, you have a whole thing with the scientist and his daughter, and they die in an accident, like a bombing, when they're trying to steal the other cells, and then it's in the future 5 years later, and it's I don't know what to think about this film. First off, let me say that the design for Biollante is actually pretty cool. It goes through two different stages. The first stage just being kind of like a giant flower, and the second stage is more like a crocodile type of thing. It's weird. It looks pretty cool though. I mean, I do have to admit that Godzilla looks pretty good too. I mean, you're using the 1985 Godzilla, so he's, relatively good still. I mean, it's a little more puppety, before. Like, and it's weird for me to say something like that, because when you say, oh, it's more puppety, but, terrible terror, Godzilla's always been a guy in a rubber suit. What do you mean more puppety? I mean, it's like stiffer. Like the old Godzilla, even though it looked kind of funny and kind of funky, he still like had personality. Where this Godzilla is just like his mouth barely moves, and he doesn't really do a whole lot in terms of attacking stuff. And this is one of the Godzilla movies, to be honest with you, I don't even remember seeing. I don't think I've ever seen this film before. I think I've seen some things that other people have done on this film, but especially the Angry Video Game Nerd, James Rolfe with Cinemassacre, when they did the Godzilla Fest right back in the day. So that's how I knew some of this stuff. But man, this film, it is just fucking boring, man. It is probably one of the worst of the kaiju films I think I've seen. Like, the scenes between Godzilla and Biollante are actually relatively good. You get the Super X2. It's back, I guess, with now a reflecting heat ray type thing to reflect Godzilla's fire breath, or radioactive breath, whatever you want to call it. And then it fucking fails anyway. Like, it can't take the heat. Like, you built it, and you still can't handle the heat. What the fuck? Why the hell are you going to build something like this and waste your fucking time? I don't know why you're going to do that. But, so ultimately it's like Godzilla's still kind of the bad guy. But I really don't know what to make of this film, because I wanted to like it. I really did. I really wanted to be like, man, this is something different they're doing. It's a decent story. You have this thing, the spirit of the guy's daughter is in the plant monster thing. It's made up of Godzilla cells. It's like a plot line. But let me tell you the worst things about this movie. The worst, and I could say this is the worst thing, is the fact that they don't seem to be having, like, it's going to sound terrible, but they don't seem to be having native English speakers doing the English roles. Like, when they go in there and it's the U.S. Army trying to take the Godzilla cells, the guys sound like they're fucking like Russians or whatever. Like, they're not. They got the cheapest people possible to be Americans. Like, the English just sucks, and they got a couple of things, or like they had these guys actually do it and then they dubbed them over with other actors. Like, it just sounds horrible, like, and it's really hard to understand them. Maybe that's just old man me talking at this point, but it is really fucking hard to even get anything in there. The second thing that's not very good is the human story. I just don't like it. I mean, they're trying to stop Godzilla. He might be attacking, Osaka. There's an ESP type thing going on with the girl, but nothing really happens in the film till about, it's an hour and 44 minutes long. So it's one of the longer. I thought the last one was long. This turns out to be much longer. And until 40 minutes are left in the fucking film, 40 minutes are left in the film, is when we finally have our first, like, encounter between Godzilla and Biollante. And it's over in like a millisecond, maybe 5 minutes. Godzilla just uses his fucking fire breath and sets it on fire and kills it. That's it. Done. Then it's about chasing Godzilla around, and then it's about the Super X going off and fucking attacking Godzilla. That's like the next part of the film. And then the last 11 minutes of this film, Biollante shows back up in his crocodile form. Or her crocodile form. I don't know if it has his daughter's soul, so maybe it's supposed to be a she. There's some ESP, like I said, bullshit, where this girl, she stands on the dock and she uses her ESP powers to do something to Godzilla. Fuck if I know. Like, what the hell was that? All he does is flash and then he walks away and she fucking faints. And then, like I said, the last thing, there is a really cool scene, though. And I have to say, the scenes that this lasts like 11 minutes. It sucks, this last 11 minutes of the film. Where Biollante and Godzilla actually fight in the film. There are some really cool scenes. There's one scene where she's like attacking him with all her tentacle things and they're biting. Godzilla's just using his fire breath and like cuts off the Venus flytrap looking things that she sends at him. And then she fucking like sticks him right through the hand with one of her like plant tentacle things. And I thought that looked really good. Like, it looked great. And then, she barfs all over him. And then, he's got this other stuff. He has this antibacteria. It's a bacteria anti-nuclear thing. Like, anti-nuclear bacteria, I think is what they called it. And that's created by the doctor whose daughter dies in the beginning of the movie. Who, spoiler alert, of course this is all spoilers, dies at the end of the fucking film. Like, he gets shot. After Godzilla has been stopped, he's shot and dies. It's really terrible because they don't want them to make any more. This rival company doesn't want them to make any more of this, but the guy doesn't want to make any more anyway. So he dies for no reason because they don't know that he's planning never to do it again. So, like I said, it's just Godzilla, they fight for like a millisecond. You think Godzilla kind of gets the upper hand, but then he succumbs to the bacteria that they've shot inside of him. And during one of the scenes in the city, when one of the other generals sacrifices himself dumbly, and shoots him in the mouth, one of them, they find out that, Godzilla's cold-blooded, so Godzilla can't be harmed by this thing. Yeah, whatever. So, overall, what am I giving this film? I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5 Venus flytrap things. It's only getting the 1 because of the last fight between Godzilla and Biollante. Otherwise, I honestly don't recommend this one. This is probably one of the weakest entries in the series. So, next up, we're going to look at another Versus movie, and somebody's coming back from the past. So, and don't forget to check out the podcast, available on all your platforms. And we will see you tomorrow for day 19. I've gone through 15 Godzilla movies and 3 regular kaiju movies. I've only skipped over 1. There's 16 so far. This was 1989. So now we're going to go to what would be number 17, but it'll be number 16 of just Godzilla films on my list. So we will see you next time. Bye-bye.